Welcome back to the Chaudron Effect. I'm Mike Chaudron. This is a podcast about how leadership, work, and life actually unfold over time. Not in theory, not in slogans, but in real decisions and real responsibility. Most leadership problems don't start with a bad decision. They start with a conversation we know we need to have, and yet choose to delay. And today, I want to talk about that moment, because almost every leader recognizes it. You feel it before you can explain it. Something isn't quite right. A behavior, a performance issue, tension on the team. And instead of addressing it, we wait. Early in leadership, we convince ourselves that waiting is thoughtful. We tell ourselves, I need more information. I don't want to overreact. Maybe it'll resolve itself. Sometimes that is wisdom, but often it's avoidance dressed up as patience. And the longer you lead, the more you realize something important. Problems rarely grow because leaders act too soon. They grow because leaders act too late. I remember more than once in my career knowing a conversation needed to happen and convincing myself it could wait another week. Nothing dramatic happened right away, but that's the trap. Because over time you could feel it inside the team. Standards blurred a little, frustration went unspoken, people started adjusting around the issue instead of addressing it. And by the time I finally had the conversation, it wasn't preventative anymore. It was corrective. And corrective conversations are always heavier. Here's what leaders eventually learn. When you avoid a hard conversation, the team still has it, just without you. In side conversations, in assumptions, in quiet frustration. Silence doesn't preserve harmony. It transfers uncertainty. And uncertainty spreads faster than almost anything inside an organization. Most leaders don't avoid conversations because they're weak. They avoid them because they care. You don't want to discourage someone. You don't want to damage trust. You don't want to be unfair. But leadership eventually teaches you this. Clarity is kindness. Ambiguity is not. When people don't know where they stand, they fill in the blanks themselves. And they're usually harder on themselves than you would have been. The mindset shift for me was realizing that difficult conversations are not acts of authority. They are acts of stewardship. You are protecting standards. You are protecting the team. And often, you are protecting the individual from a bigger consequence later. Handled early, conversations feel human. Handled late, they feel disciplinary. That difference matters. So if you're leading today, here's a simple question. What conversation are you quietly hoping fixes itself? You probably already know the answer. Leadership rarely asks for perfection, but it does ask for courage at the right time. Some of the most important moments in leadership never show up on an organizational chart. They happen across a desk, or on a walk, or in a quiet conversation you almost postponed. And more often than not, those moments shape trust far more than any big decision ever will. Thanks for joining this episode of The Chaudron Effect. We'll keep learning together, one conversation at a time.